Welcome to the new professional StarCraft 2 with our first finalist, the former world champion Terran in the red. It's Micro Jackson ByuN, facing off against his counterpart, the People's Terran from Team Liquid in the blue. It's Cure in a best of 5 Terran versus Terran Grand Finals, the first tournament held since the new StarCraft 2 balance patch hotfix. Cranky Duckling, Sparkling, Tuna, Cup. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. And we got the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,879 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As the Reapers duel to start things off, Cure getting across the map, up close and personal, point blank range, and ByuN puts them down. At some point, did you know Reapers, you can write this down. You're allowed to take notes. There will be a quiz at the end. Reapers move exactly as fast as Reapers. And that little animation, the random attack delay, some might call it rad. Cure, not so much, but the Reaper gets by in between the production waves. Cure on the high ground, and I don't think that Reaper's going to be making out. It'll join its counterpart in the unit's loss tab, but not before, leaving a little present. The Martyrdom perk is going strong. And yes, Terran versus Terran. Command centers, only 300 minerals. Otherwise, the laundry list of patch changes is still applicable. Technically, the Ghost is 2 supply. Doubt we'll see much of those in this particular matchup. Planetary Fortresses are still the same cost, but the net cost of the Orbital Command is... Oh, Reaper popped up and knocked down the Hellions. And a hot and heavy start. As both sides sending out those early units. TVT is a chess boxing match where, since you both have access to the same tech, but because of Terran's, I guess, unique sort of production mechanics, you can get away with early aggression while still being defended back at home. Because by the time those units get across the map, they can't warp in. They don't have a speed upgrade that lets them sprint across. TVT is the thinking man's matchup for thinking men who then want to beat the each other up, or other things. But especially on a map with a relatively long rush distance like this one, I'm actually very interested to see how this matchup plays out. Now with significantly cheaper command centers, which I think is part of why we're seeing a Terran versus Terran finals here, but I digress. As, the Cyclone, surprisingly vulnerable to Hellions, as Cure just relying on the Cyclone to intimidate the Hellions, but ByuN is not one to be easily intimidated. The Raven is headed north. Auto turret harass potentially. And air control. The name of the game is StarCraft 2. But if you were to rename it, it should probably be air control, as there are no stars here. But in TVT, air control is everything. Even more than the non-mirror matchups. Either you have the ability to maintain vision and control the skies, or you don't. And it's almost impossible to actually attack into your opponent if you don't have that air control. And it's very difficult to defend if you don't on your side of things. So the Raven, with interference matrix from both sides, the ability to lock down for about 11 seconds, I think that's where we're at, a unit. Most notably a siege tank, but occasionally other Ravens or Vikings. Any mechanical unit, technically, is absolutely critical, like a crowbar for prying open the defense, or maybe breaking an attack. And that's why both sides are investing in it early on. It is a very cheap 50-50 upgrade. Not like a gambling chance, but instead that's the actual cost. Just adds a little bit of a buffer of time before you can get it. A Banshee, though, just a raw Banshee, no cloak, just out there for everyone to see. And ByuN microing, he's repairing the SCVs before the Banshee can get the kill. Of course, it's not quite quick enough. Auto turret whipped out. Banshee doubles back. And technically can out-micro the Marines without any Vikings. Gonna struggle to knock this down. The kills are good. 8 kills, 9 kills. The Vikings ready to put it down. But honestly, I think it was worth it. 5 kills for the Banshee. ByuN plummets to a 1-worker lead. It might be a little bit better if he remembered to build his command center, but, you know, he could be forgiven slightly for neglecting it, as the Banshee murdered the last creator, and they had some regulations to go through. But You're really embodying that need for air control. Not one, but 2 starports. Believe it or not, these are bio builds from both players. ByuN is going for stim, and Cure is also going for stim, despite the fact he has 2 starports and a factory. At best, this might look bio-curious, but that's just the name. Medevacs are not important if they just get knocked out of the sky by Vikings. I cannot stress how important it is to maintain air control. I know I keep talking about it, but I will, as long as these players are building more starports than they are barracks while going stim. Well, I think it's hard to understate how important it is. Why is there still a Reaper? Oh my god, it's gonna live. It gets out 3 kills. It looks like 2 more SCVs as well. Oh, completely out of position. Cure not anticipating this, but there's so much Raven energy on both sides. Neither player really wants to engage, but Cure has 4 siege tanks. There's enough for 3, 4 interference matrices on both sides. Oh, scrambles 2 of the tanks. At least they can keep moving, but they cannot attack while interference matrix is active. And if they were siege, they wouldn't be able to unsiege. But for now, they can scamper away. But the Viking count, he kited back and managed to take down both Ravens, which means for a short time, Cure will maintain this air control. But the Ravens of ByuN and filling in more Vikings could make all the difference. He scans and spots the Vikings on a raid to the south. Cure can't stay here, though. The Ravens are too much of a threat. He was trying to maybe threaten. And Vikings are actually very good on the ground. We don't see TVT mostly because the algorithm is not so favorable. So just know, by the way, if you see a mirror matchup, well, you've made it this far, so I don't need to convince you. But if you see a mirror matchup on this channel, it is an even higher standard than our normal game of the year every week. So it has to go way above and beyond, or be something special, just in order to counteract, of course, the algorithm. And it's disliked. The Vikings will invade, but that extra mechanical damage on the ground, the SCVs are pulled, they're going to be slaughtered. Vikings hit the deck on both sides. The only way to counter, and oh my. Bolts strewn everywhere. SCVs obliterated. Siege tanks at the front line. And challenging it. Cure kills 13 SCVs, left with 69 back at home, which gives him a nice lead to start things off. And I mean, starting things off is maybe not where we're at right now, but the counter scan. And the Ravens are still an existential threat to a direct push. ByuN stims out some Marines. Still no combat shield for either side. We're 10 minutes in. Finally, just now adding production. ByuN gonna be the first player at 10 minutes to add medevacs. He did just kill 10 Vikings from Cure. So he's ground out a bit of, say the thing, air control. And why is air control so important? Besides the obvious. Siege tanks. Siege tanks cannot see as far as they can shoot. With scan, you have a little bit of extra vision, and scans are a little easier to come by when command centers are cheaper. But more importantly, liberators. Neither player has liberators yet, but if one player decisively gets air control, you can just use liberators to push the tanks back, and you can cover them from the ground with the siege tanks of your own. It's a relatively quick and decisive way to capitalize on a lead in the Viking count. But so far, both players give respect to the other, and are not going to try to sneak it. And if you go for liberators and don't have the Viking lead, they just get knocked out of the sky and you probably throw the game. Like, scrambles one tank, the concave, the Marines are trickling through between a rock and a hard place, but he's trying to pry his way through. Another siege tank scrambled with the interference matrices. The tank's on the ramp in a very awkward spot. It looks like he wants to reposition a couple of them. And the Vikings giving him perfect vision for now. But the tanks are blocked in by the other tank. Oh, it's a mess. He was 8-clicked on the rocks, but ByuN trying to shove his way in. And so far, mild success, but I think Cure may be able to stall this out enough. He's building 3 Vikings at a time. He still has 2 starports to 1, which ByuN may not have realized. Cure's been so wasteful, arguably wasteful. Oh, he's gonna drop the Marines. One-way trip, try to draw the siege tank fire, and for now, it'll be boxed out. Cure. Well, there's a sensor tower on the edge of it. ByuN, over to the left side, a little bit too close to the siege tank. Will eat maybe a double, not quite. And he manages to knock out one. The secondary forces out on the map. Neither player knows exactly where the other is, but the Vikings dancing. ByuN anticipated exactly this. He's maxed out first, and he actually has way more army supply. Cure trying to break out of the front line, though. The Raven almost taken out. The Marines out in front covering for the siege tank leapfrog. And the creeping barrage of siege tanks. Oh, the Raven is knocked out. And now the Ravens are never more. Oh, but he has so many Marines! ByuN! Stimming and winning, and he's unstoppable right now. The upgrades, 1-1 apiece. But ByuN has almost a full 2-2 advantage. Nearly 2 minutes ahead. Which might be too much to handle. But the siege tanks. Does he have +1? The identical upgrades tab. Stim, combat shield, 1-1. +1 mech weapons, interference matrices, but ByuN tilts the scales in his favor. The +2 infantry weapons and armor. It's such a huge deal in this sort of composition. This is almost an anti-timing from Cure. Well, he crushes the front line. More siege tanks down the center. And for now, ByuN always wants to be. This is a blessing and a curse. He's so good at the aggression, but he relies on it so much. The scan spots it coming through the center. That's it. He comes around the corner. A horrible angle. Cure target firing on the depths of Marines and just wading through. ByuN keeps stimming forward, and Cure, a lot of the siege tanks bitten off. Cure destroys 3 tanks, as does ByuN, but 47 to 37. It's a bloodbath on either side, and it appears it's going to continue raining men one way or another. Hallelujah. Sensor towers taken out. How many orbital commands? 4 to 3, so not so many scans. They can just constantly do so, but ByuN splits. He stims. He takes out another tank. But at what cost? Another few dozen Marines, some medevacs knocked out of the sky. Cure, the few medevacs of his own, and he's actually building Liberators now. This is the moment. This is the Rubicon. Can he cross it? Or will he be driven back before the Liberators can make the difference? There is a fusion core on the way in advanced ballistics, but if there was ever a matchup to potentially see the Battlecruisers, this is it. As there's no easier way to capitalize on air control then, oh my god, he's going to drop right on top. Try to stagger the amount of damage, but instead he goes right into the splash damage. The Venn diagram of freedom obliterates everything. The siege tanks hold the line. Both sides have incredible economies. We're talking 3,000 plus minerals and 1,000 gas a minute. They can replace so many of these units. But ByuN is knocking on the door. Cure's answer is strong, but it's not enough to drive him back. The Liberators continue forward. The siege tank taken out by the flying siege tanks, and the siege tanks behind, I know it got a little confusing there, are covering against the Marines. ByuN, Marines, tanks, and medevacs. That's it. That's his entire army. Well, a few less Marines and a few less medevacs now. But he's on borrowed time. As the Liberator count begins to grow, it becomes harder and harder to actually hold these siege positions. ByuN is looking for an opportunity, but he actually forgot +3 weapons. Oh no! That is a minor disaster right now. Did he accidentally queue it up? No, he might not. He started armor, but not weapons, which is... That's not a good sign for the survivability of your Marines when armor is the priority. Because why is armor the priority? Why are we going to take so many hits? Shouldn't we focus on the damage? Sorry about that. You know what I'm not sorry for, though? A Battlecruiser for Cure is in production. And I think he'd have more if he had the supply to do so. He has +2 mech weapons. He's working on armor. He does have the superior mechanical forces. ByuN now filleted that plus. He has +2-3 now on the ground. Then again, I guess if your Marines are almost exclusively used as meat bag shields. Oh no, here he goes. Oh, it's a bloodbath, but he takes out the liver. That's a lot of damage. He lost 25 Marines, and he's still maxed out. the Red Army will send wave after wave. And there doesn't seem to be a decisive way to stop him. Three battlecruisers on the way. Battlecruisers quite good at towing the line against the Marines. They have a lot of base armor, and he's adding more on. More CCs than an angry email chain with the intern wondering why command centers are 300 minerals down. In production for both sides. Siege tanks on the front line. Dozens upon dozens of kills. Another scattering of Marines as they become significantly more parts of Marines in the middle of the field. And he sees an opportunity to drop on the tanks again in another one-way trip with those +3 armor Marines. But, oh, he goes directly towards the main. But did he dig too deep? And too greedily. Medevac taken out of the sky with all hands. ByuN doing a forward siege push. The battlecruiser count is growing. I don't think he's scouted it yet. There are more starports on the way for ByuN, who's realized that despite the fact he's managed to make some progress, well, the battlecruiser's spotted, so there is that. The siege tanks were unleashing punishing volleys. The planetary fortress under heavy fire. Yamato cannon is in production, but it's a long way off. 15 Marines at a time, 5 Vikings. He's pounding into the gold mixed base. But the battlecruisers now, +1 armor. The Marines don't even have +3 weapons yet, which means they barely scratch the paint on these battlecruisers. Cure loses 1. And it only cost ByuN 76 Marines in the last 2. You know, honestly, that seems like less than I expected. But eventually the battlecruisers must be dealt with. Vikings can kite them to the ends of the earth. Unfortunately, the battlecruisers can also teleport to either end of the earth, creating a bit of counterplay. But Vikings are faster, and they technically outrange the battlecruisers, besides the Yamato cannon. So with enough of them, you can just continually zone them out with good micro. And ByuN, well, he's not called Macro Jackson, though maybe he could be. More Marines getting pasted. As so far, 257 Marines lost for ByuN, 170-something for Cure. Another couple siege tanks will be dismantled. The Viking count, 14 to 6, with 5 battlecruisers. Once he has Yamato cannon, he can trade almost infinitely. Again, until he runs out of real estate. But Cure, ByuN has kept the aggression up for so long. And he's continually making progress. He hasn't been touched on the other side since the initial attack. A command center knocked out of the sky. The Vikings, I mean, if you stay landed, the siege tanks will obliterate. If you lift off, it's the Vikings' turn. And if you stay landed, the Vikings might land anyway. So the Marine count finally starting to dwindle down to 29. 10 siege tanks, 21 Vikings. The battlecruisers, though, he uses a Yamato on the tanks. Feels like maybe not the ideal use case. Meanwhile, the battlecruiser's going to try to use... Oh, Ravens are back in production because Interference Matrix is the only really reliable way to disable the tactical jump, potentially. And also, anti-armor missile is a huge deal against battlecruisers. Another battlecruiser outflanked by missile turrets. The Vikings going to knock down a second one, and they jump before the volley even completes. All but one battlecruiser made it home, but ByuN. Can I park here? You got a permit? I got your permit right here, bitch. Sorry. SCV's having a bit of a domestic dispute. The command center will try to land to dodge the Viking shots. Just let it burn. Okay, well. Got him. 7 orbital commands for ByuN to just 4. And another base. The command center knocked down. ByuN, he's stimming forward into the siege tanks. And he gets cold feet, and then very hot ones a moment later. The battlecruisers. Meanwhile, the Marines. Oh no, ByuN. He kept the Viking. That was it. He had one. Okay, he has more than one job. There's a lot of jobs right now. Big job, huh? I don't. But he needed to keep the Viking count, so the battlecruisers were a non-issue. He just lost how many Vikings? Oh my, okay, 14, 12 in the air, 2 on the ground, but... And now Cure, with just a few Marines, couple dozen, is able to dismantle the defense, and he just reset the Viking count. ByuN still has the lead, but he doesn't have enough to decisively take out the battlecruisers. ByuN was that command center's death was not in vain. All right, easy enough to replace nowadays. Losing the command center, but killing off 10 Vikings, I think just put Cure right back in this game. As now, he's maxed out with Raven Viking Battlecruiser. And ByuN, he still has the income advantage. Well, ByuN also... Oh, this is going to get weird. Here we go. The Raven count, 6 to 4. What do you even use here? Just whatever you can get. The interference matrices will interrupt the Yamato cannon as well. The only ability in the game that can actually do that. Fun fact. Again, here we are again. Oh my god, what a sentence. Deja vu. The Raven Flower. He's gonna drop right on top of the tanks. Again, dropping the marine bombs, drawing the siege tank fire. The battle cruisers. He correctly realized but they just scanned one another. The scan and counter scan, the Vendaya scans. Another one to the north. He's trying to chase down the battle cruisers, but Cure is building enough marines so that way he can't just fly and chase. ByuN, of course, has more marines, as he is wont to do. Another tank will be dropped, and these marines may actually survive for a few extra seconds. Meanwhile, the small task force will take out the base on both sides. But the Ravens take it out. Oh no, Cure! He loses 2 Ravens for free. Might be able to trade 1. What? Oh, the siege tank's on the low ground. And Cure, for the most part, is getting outclassed by ByuN. At least in this particular scenario. But ByuN, well, they've lost about the same amount of resources. The Marine scrambles the tanks, dismantles the defense, stims right through. And there go the Vikings, there go the Ravens. And oh no, it's a disaster. The long-distance mining of way too many SCVs. Where are the battle cruisers? When the Vikings fell, where were the battle cruisers? When the siege tanks were disabled, where were the battle cruisers? And when the SCVs were slaughtered, where were the cruisers? He jumps away from the Raven Viking to chase down the Marines. He may get his vengeance. But at what cost? Yamato cannon. Yeah, well, the Marines will be hunted down. 39 SCVs dead. Cure back down to 35. He has 4 orbital commands, which just isn't enough. The only potential saving grace is the fact that it's mass Raven Viking, which is bad for the battlecruisers, but good. Technically, if he can catch ByuN out of position, there's really not that many tanks or marines. Cure, even though he has 35 SCVs, ByuN just keeping the pressure on throughout all this. And ByuN's turn for a fusion core. Actually, went without it this whole time. Then again, there's the fusion core only has upgrades for medevacs, which he probably could have used liberators, and unlocking the battle cruiser. The Raven's on the way, and oh no, he needs to jump now. He jumped before the interference matrix landed, allowing him to evade it, but the mass Viking again, barely able to land, and scrambles the tank. A bit gratuitous. Neither side really able to... This is just orbital commands. And this is enough army that... Well, actually, wait a second. There's battlecruisers in production for ByuN. But several starports. He knows about that base. Anti-armor vessel will hit almost everything. That's actually huge. He can disable the siege tanks. Some of them getting pre-scrambled, but a couple not. And even just one. What is he gonna do? Well, the auto turrets. No, you can't fight like this. And ByuN gonna lose air, not air control necessarily, but he's gonna lose a lot of his Ravens and Vikings. The battle has continued for 7.5 minutes. This thing resets if a unit is not lost for 30 seconds. Over the last 7.5 minutes, just countless units. And it's not gonna end. The battlecruisers are on the way for ByuN. Cure lost so many SCVs, but ByuN's about to lose everything at this base. He loses the planetary. And honest, the counter cruisers might actually be... They might go from a stylistic move to a game-winning one. The Battlecruiser's over the right for Cure. The Battlecruiser's on the left for ByuN. Oh, he needs to... It's the same scenario. He needs to jump. As soon as he jumps over to reinforce his attack, he spots the cruisers of ByuN who don't have Yamato cannon. He lines up the shots, knocks the siege tanks out, and, well, here comes... those Marines are in terrible shape, but at the same time, the Battlecruisers Dorito-dusted. The anti-armor missile actually softens up the armor enough that the Marines are a real threat. Interference matrices, auto turrets, the base is going to be taken down. And ByuN is now looking like the ByuNderdog somewhat. The Vikings, they want to land. There's a single siege tank. There's not that many Marines left over. The Battlecruisers, they survived! And air control goes to ByuN. He can't stop the cruisers. And Cure is stopped. The final stand of ByuN is in the sky after 9 minutes of fighting. What's left? 100 supply apiece, 40 workers, but 2 battlecruisers. He still has some Ravens. Where did he jumped the cruisers over. 30 kills across him, and counting, and over to the left side. There's nothing left. ByuN survives, and his battlecruisers allow him to take the victory. An absolute bloodbath. But at the end of the day, air control. ByuN's battlecruisers may have been less numerous, but more meaningful. 377 Marines versus 311. 7 cruisers to 1. 36 to 38 tanks. 34 to 33 Vikings. Through all the fire and fury, ByuN finds the antidote to Cure. Well, strong start. I really thought ByuN would be able to lock it down, somewhat puns intended. Right up until he threw away, like, it's so easy. It's not easy, but it's so easy to just get complacent and forget that you need the Marines and tanks. They serve an incredibly important role of dying so that way your air units don't. But ByuN's aggression eventually pays off. It got him enough of a lead that he could throw it away and still be in the game. Losing those Vikings and Ravens multiple times. Cure, I think this holds true just generally throughout their careers. Cure, strategically, usually a better player, but ByuN just has the killer instinct. Sometimes gets him killed, but that Marine tank micro, the willingness to shove in with 20 Marines to kill 2 tanks. They all get obliterated, but he takes that position and makes it that much harder for Cure to ever retake. It's very hard to do that repeatedly without throwing the game. Okay, I know that sounds dumb, but that's just my voice. But like and subscribe. But, well, while it was Terran versus Terran, it really didn't feel much like a mirror matchup. Even though they built almost exactly the same units, the clear split in ByuN's wild aggression to Cure's more pragmatic composition. I think Cure did not maximize the battlecruisers. He was so busy trying to make sure they stayed alive that he was never really able to get the damage done. Once he started embracing ByuN's kind of battle group style, where you have 30-40 supply of Marines and tanks split off, he found a lot more success. But that's the thing, like, that the wild thing is how close it was by the end as well. Neither side able to hold on to those outlying bases, because the moment you commit so much army supply to one side, they're slamming into the other, or tactical jumping, or somewhere in between. One Marine standing guard. It's a Reaper first out of ByuN Cure. With Marine first, actually. Not actually sure why. He goes Reaper after Marine. Maybe. So a lot of players are struggling with the new 8-worker start and the timings. And what I really think is he didn't have his gas in time to get a Reaper first. I'm trying to think of why you'd ever... I guess unless he... the very... Anyways. Well, the devil's in the details. The details are usually in the production tab. The timing of the gas and exactly what units you build early, like last game, we saw the Reaper Hellion back and forth. This map is a bit more confusing here on Blackrock. Washout is like 3 lanes, like other games you might know, where you slide around the right or the left or down the center. Blackrock is more like playing Candyland. I'm thinking of the right one, where there are so many choke points and vision blockers. Technically, you can land siege tanks on the high ground, which is hilarious, but also, honestly, criminally underutilized. We'll see, as neither player has looked very far outside their base. It's a 1 ranks expand into a 1-1-1. The barracks, the factory, the starport, Destiny Cloudfish build. I heard it called in a nostalgic fever dream, but giving you access to all those early game units, but some certain ones specifically. Raven. We'll have to see if they make more than 1 Cyclone, because 1 Cyclone is just good defense. More than 1 Cyclone is aggressive, because it is the best, most reliable basic defense against air, since it can pretty much take down any air unit in the early game. Interference matrix on the way. No early attack. It's probably, at least partially, because of the struggles to get across the map. The vision blockers, the risk that it poses pretty much every step of the way. Both players just sitting back. So, this is the build, if you're taking notes at home. I told you to take notes. Are you ready for the quiz? I actually think there is a quiz option on YouTube now. Gotta maximize that engagement. Speaking of, have you liked and subscribed? Are you looking forward to the Zero Space Galactic War? We're gonna shoehorn that one in. But over the next, if you're watching this the first day, the next week or two, Zero Space is in early access. I know, right? Early access. It's a strong word. Words, actually. But I'm looking forward to it, and you can check out Winter Gaming TV, my second channel, where I stream almost every day. Usually not SC... well, recently SC2, but what is this? Crouching Cyclone, Hidden Hellion. Where did the Hellion come from? Wait, who's flanking who? There's no way ByuN knew he was moving out there. He happened to dart in, but this... he was trying to catch any units that came over, like any air units. Would have been a huge pickoff. The Raven is currently locked on. The scan. Interference Matrix is one way to break the lock. Throws out a grenade. We've got like quite a menagerie of abilities here. The lock on, the Interference Matrix, auto turret, Reaper grenade. But 3 Ravens now for ByuN against just 2, and Cure already used some of the energy, so he could be walking into a trap. It's a trap! Well, or is it? Slaps down some auto turrets, scrambles the tank, but the auto turrets... okay, there's not enough... is there enough energy for Interference Matrix? No, but there's enough energy for more auto turrets, which I feel like Kier probably should have been aware of. But, okay, so air control. Once again, and the Cyclone, they take each other out because the missile was in the air by the time the Cyclone was taken down, but now there's no answer to the Vikings besides a few Marines. ByuN is rallying SCVs across the map. We've all been there. Yep. Now, boys, I'd like to defect. I don't... and Cure is continuing forward, trying to press the issue while he has the Viking lead. And the Ravens are low on energy. Though he has 1 siege tank, 2 Marines, a Raven, and a whole lot of optimism. The Vikings. Wow. We just fly all the way through. More Vikings. They're over the dead space there where they can't... Well, they have to drop the auto turrets. We might lose one more. Target fire knocks it out. And one Viking is taken down. Another tumultuous time. But I think ByuN finally has the unit count he needs to push forward. Almost all the air units... This is awkward. Cure. Oh, no, no, no! Cure! ByuN has Stim. I'm surprised he didn't use it on any of the Marines. A Liberator. The Vikings. Hey, how are these Vikings still alive? Stim Marines are much faster. Dudes with drugs and guns. Way faster than flying gunship. Obviously. But the Vikings are on quite a mission here. Okay, they should turn this into a show. How many Viking shows are there now? Literally called that, not just in the general theme. Good show. Siege tanks. We kind of eventually worked our way into a siege line here. A Raven, but the missile turrets. Auto turret, little baby turret there. Let me show you how it's done. All right, young one. Live fast, die hard, right? Meanwhile, Liberator, actually, the entire depot stockpile at the back. But Vikings to take it out. ByuN has a supply lead as the turntables turn. The Liberator's taking out that SCV, getting some extra hazard pay. Just kidding, they don't get paid. I know. Combat shield now done. ByuN kind of coalescing with a supply lead and an upgrade lead. And, oh no, the vision blocker. Does he have a scan? Oh no. Oh wow, what a positioning. Oh, it could be an absolute disaster. Oh, it hurts! Oh wait, does it? He picks up. Wow, a slick pickup from Cure. Gets on top of the tanks, takes out one. The other ones are stuck. No, no! Oh no, he doesn't get it, but the Liberator. It's already too late. Auto turret, just make sure it's done. Another double drop, a casual turret out there. Gonna be outmaneuvered. Refineries burning. Main base. The missile turrets aren't quite in position to deal with the drop. They were explicitly for the Raven. And now ByuN is dropping all over the base like it's a Skrillex album and takes out the combat shield, which is actually a huge deal because he's about to have the 2-2. Well, he's not too far off the 2-2 upgrades, but Kira is scrambling to deal with all this. But ByuN suffering some pretty dramatic losses as well. He traded out his entire army to do this. He lost all the Marines, the medevacs, the Vikings. So it wasn't free. ByuN also lost 11 SCVs. What? What else? Maybe there was another Liberator out there? I don't think he got 11 SCVs with the first one, but again, the fight, yeah, continuing over quite a time. ByuN is ahead on SCVs. He's ahead on supply. He's ahead on upgrades. But Cure has more tanks, more Vikings, and a Raven. And now the upgrade's going to be reset. He gets behind the engineering base. And, oh, well, that was an optimistic drop. Picks up, knocked out of the sky with all hands. And Cure again. He loses an engineering bay, upgrading +2 armor. But he takes out another 20 supply of ByuN's medevacs. And ByuN starting to meet with diminishing returns, as his Marines getting turned into meat much more efficiently. With the 2-2 infantry weapons and armor completed, will he go? That's 2 siege tanks. Make that 3. He's going to get into position to siege up the edge of the base, where Cure is not quite in. He's going to drop the main interference matrix. He stops 2. Oh no, he can't drop out. Oh. Good reaction on Cure there in time to clean it up, but the orbital command is under heavy fire. He needs to lift it. It's taking terrible, terrible damage. He lifts it finally. And the one Viking is not enough. He cleans up the main. And again, the Liberator taken down. But so he just gets the he just cuts in and carves away the Vikings, the Liberator, and a siege tank. ByuN's Marines are just so overpowered. He's so good at doing nothing but making Marines, tanks, and medevacs for his entire career. Occasionally, we'll mix in another starport unit, but only if we desperately have to. Speaking of, Liberators just casually sieging. Gonna get the siege tank, if nothing else, and this positioning is also potentially disgusting. The Marines in position to deal with it. Should be able to take it down in time. Repositions another Liberator, and Kira just walks across the map completely unscouted and cuts into ByuN's 4th base. Orbital's gone. SCV's slaughtered to a man. Meanwhile, the siege line, the standoff continues. Kira won't be able to go any further. But now there's 40 supply of Marines and medevacs out there on the map. And he might be able to collapse on the tank line. The Liberators are taken out, but at bloody cost. Yeah, there's still a few Marines, but he can drop on top and start to dismantle. Even 4 Marines. He's just fighting. Cure with that delayed armor upgrade, and he still hasn't started it. I don't know if he rebuilt the engineering bay. He did. He didn't start the +2 armor. Oh, no. But now these tanks are not long for this world. ByuN has to know that as well. Yeah. I'm going to get a few more on the way out. But Cure collapses and annihilates them. ByuN is down to 1 medevac for 77 Marines. And suddenly, he's fighting into the vision blockers, loses another one. That's 2. Well, the Marines have a great concave and an upgrade advantage, but the medevacs are more than enough to turn the tides. He managed to sneak out another base, but Kier now has a pretty decisive income lead. As he re-landed the orbital, and he's gonna accidentally almost scout this base. But he has to make a decision, because he knows ByuN's going across the map. He splits off. The SCVs evacuate both directions. ByuN's gonna try to crush through. Kier caught a little off guard by the army collapsing on him. He just evacuates some of the siege tanks. A lot of those Marines in autumn colors. The siege tank retargets and doesn't get a shot. He tried too hard to retarget, and it reset the attack timer by a bit. Oh no! He looked for the money shot, but instead, he was looking the wrong way. Cure. Cleaned off the map. But a single Liberator. Gonna start working. Oh no, the Marines! Oh no. More SCVs dead. Oh my. A absolute cluster truck here. As both sides. Nobody landing their siege tanks on the high ground. I swear you can land siege tanks here. If there was ever a time. I can't believe. Do they not know? +3 infantry weapons and armor about to complete for ByuN. Those siege tanks gonna immediately re-siege. And oh no, the planetary / orbital is not done. The SCV is incredibly vulnerable. ByuN is just running out of steam here. Not running out of stim, but that's part of the issue. The command center targeted. The SCVs will repair. ByuN stimming hard. Cure not stimming at all. 24 more SCVs dead. ByuN is on his last legs. Though thankfully he still has plenty of them. 60 Marines, 13 tanks, but only 41 SCVs. It's almost impossible to know exactly where you are economically in this sort of chaotic, roundabout game. But ByuN knows how bad his economy is, and he doesn't realize. Cure, that's his main command center. Oh no, the siege tanks. He's trying to go through the rocks. He takes out the tank. +2 mech weapons. Cure stims forward though. It's on top of the tank. The Marine count isn't there. The orbital command is next. And ByuN is stalled out. Cure has the siege tanks. Rotates around again. But Cure has the reinforcements on the way. ByuN gonna try to break through. There's a lot of siege tanks, and Cure doesn't have +3 infantry armor, which is actually a pretty huge deal in this exact scenario. Land on the high ground. Please, this is it. This is the time. ByuN! And again, I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea for someone who doesn't have map control to try to land on the high ground. They'll just drop Marines on top of it. And you can put the Marines on the high ground, but don't want to be stranded there. The army supply is in Kier's favor. He still doesn't realize he doesn't have +3 armor. I don't know if that's active or... the main command centers have been floated on both sides. It's a much more desperate scenario for ByuN. But when cornered, he's sometimes the most dangerous. The great split on the Marines, minimizing the damage. Kier not target firing. Another tank, accidental cyclone. Oh no. But the Marines just win this fight, right? I gotta... Stutter stepping back, slaughtering even more SCVs. Another tank sieges up. ByuN slamming into the planetary to the north. Doing so much damage. The Marines are actually stim forward. He actually draws the fire with a single Marine. Doing an incredible job. He's adding to the damage of the planetary. He's overwhelmed and taken out. And Kier... Oh, he's gonna try to evacuate the SCVs. Gets a couple. 17 SCVs dead. But ByuN is not willing to give this up. Meanwhile, the tanks, a full line. And a huge volley. Now the army supply is in favor of ByuN. There's no more Vikings or Liberators. They've been desperately making Marines and tanks this whole damn time. Kier still has the position and the army to beat, but ByuN has better upgrades with more army supply. ByuN has been one mediocre fight away from disaster, away from defeat. This for like 10 minutes straight. But he will not go down. Another... Oh no, it's just 2 tanks. Kier, you can do it. Come on. ByuN has been putting on a grand master class on how to deal with this. Showing exactly how to do this sort of micro. And he's stimming in. Kier pulls all the way back. The boys are pulled in order to absorb a shot. I gotta say, ByuN's Marine, well, maybe not until that moment. There's another attack. ByuN hitting the top left while holding on to the bottom, the southern base. This is pretty much his last income. He's running out of mineral patches. The natural is floated. Despite the cost, the command centers are few and far between in every sense. The siege tanks take out the command center. The SCVs contemplating their lot in life. The orbital command lifts at the last moment, right before the siege tanks take it down. And ByuN, oh no, he's caught out on the open field. Just 2 Vikings can make all the difference. Takes down 1, 2, 3 medevacs, 2 Gs, and we're all tied up 1-1. As just like that, Kier slaps 3 medevacs out of the sky. ByuN plummets to under 100 supply. And now, the series is at a tie. Somehow, even more action-packed. Almost the same amount of Marines in 10 minutes less. 281 and 247. Kier actually lost more Marines that game. ByuN's Marine tank micro unequaled. But Kier didn't need to equal him. He had a better composition. And a better map position most of the time. Better tools to pry open the defenses. And ByuN just never quite recovered from those decisive drops and counterattack timings. But what a series. Oh well. Why do we need the other races, right? That's what they always... don't demonetize me. I didn't... Well, I kind of meant it that way, but not in the way you think. Give me, edit that out. Game 3. All we need to make this the greatest series is an actual mech versus bio game. Like Thor Hellbat versus Marine Tank Marauder. I don't know if we'll get it. It's more than likely to be Kier who partakes. But eventually, guess what? 2 Vikings just won the game. Though Kier was trending for a while, ByuN was so close. If Kier had faltered on that attack to the south and not wiped out the medevacs, then ByuN is right back in it with a similar economy because he killed 2 bases. Well, I told you, if you're seeing a mirror match, it's above and beyond. Puns entirely intended. And so far, these two very... Right now, so, Clem and Maru, are decisively the top 2 Terrans in the world. Cure and ByuN routinely battle for 3rd in the rankings and literally. And they're 2 very different Terrans, both with some flaws, which keep them from that very top tier that Clem and Maru, usually Clem, but occasionally Maru, achieve. Cure is the macro god. He will lose everything and be able to rebuild it, but he's planning for the future. Whereas ByuN just will micro his way out of any scenario with the exact units and the exact build you expected. But that doesn't mean you can stop him. And I don't know who... I think, therefore I am. But I'm not actually sure what the overall patch changes favor. I do think a 300 mineral command center is just, you know, good for... Again, there's a reason these are the 2 Terrans, or these are the 2 players we find in the finals. But, well, I do believe Hero couldn't make it. As in, it was taken out. I can't say that for sure. All right, Jimmy, we gotta check our facts. Yes, I know I can just make things up and say it with confidence. I know that's how the internet works. You're absolutely right. Here we go again. The Reaper duel. Cure throws a grenade first, but now ByuN. There's no way. Cure will win the duel, but... Wow. ByuN optimistically making a command center there. Expecting him to chase the Reaper instead. And he does, but it's slightly out of vision. And Cure unable to capitalize on that Reaper advantage. ByuN is going for a 3-per opener. He got a reactor, which is very risky. Okay, it's quite risky because, well, right now, there's going to be 3 Reapers to just 1. Though Cure hasn't come across the map. Maybe the math is different now on the timings. TVT. Almost certainly, obviously. They trade, but wait. ByuN, now the reactor paying off. And the quicker you can get away with it, obviously, the better. And ByuN already has that reactor done. Cure's command center is slightly quicker. The starport's almost identical timings. Cure now building his reactor. But the Reaper Hellion, the concave is too good. The potential for grenades. It's a very intense micro situation between Reaper Hellion. You can very much just lose the game. You lose 1 Reaper, that could easily just be the game. It might not be outright like they come up and kill all your workers, but if it denies your expansion, kills several SCVs, it's a mirror match. And that early, losing 10% of your economy, which is just 3 SCVs, is... well, it doesn't help. It does not spark joy. But that has not happened. Exactly 1 Reaper dead so far. Interference Matrix on the way for Cure. Interference Matrix. Interference Matrix. I'm starting to think it's on purpose. On the way for ByuN. Okay, he wanted a second Raven first, I guess. Or he didn't notice. Either way. Doesn't matter too much as once it's done. As long as you have the energy, that's all that matters. And getting a Raven quicker is how you get more energy. Because there's no other, you just gain it over time. Fun fact, energy is not 1 second to 1 second. You gain about 0.7 energy a second. I forget the exact number, but it's significantly less than 1. It takes around 40 seconds to get the 25 energy, which is relevant because many things cost 75 and start with 50. Most units start with 50, and many spells cost 75. So that's the amount of time. The exceptions to the energy are the shield battery, the Queen, which starts at 25. And does Terran have any exceptions? It used to be the Ghost, but not anymore. Not yet, at least. No. The Ravens. Interference matrix is done on both sides. Jockeying for position with the siege tanks. This is quite a series. I'm enjoying this a lot. I hope you're enjoying it too. Like, we already got 2 incredible games. And I hate playing TVT. I've been playing a lot of Terran lately for reasons, but you can check the stream on Winter Gaming TV. Oh, here we go. Dueling with the lock-ons. Thing is, this is a very strong push. ByuN built a 3rd command center and did not have a reactored starport, which means it's 3 tanks to 1. I'm not a mathematician, but that seems not ideal. So the Ravens, you can interference matrix your fellow. Oh, that's the only tank. He did manage to start unsieging before the interference matrix landed, but now he's just in range. Does he just win the game? The boys are pulled. He can drop down the Vikings as well. Let's see if he chooses to do so. The tank, yeah, that's it. It's all over. Okay, that was too much excitement. That's all over. I was getting hyped up because I was thinking about the last games. But Cure just slaps him across the face with a 2-base timing because ByuN had the hubris to go for 3 racks, double upgrades, and 3 CC. This is he did effectively a Terran versus Protoss build over here. Can't get away with it. Terran can punish you. Think he kind of went into default mode a little. And it cost him. Very quickly. Like, you lose the tank air control advantage. And, well, it doesn't take long to translate into a defeat. So Cure goes to match point. After a solid, decisive victory. Just a Raven tank push. Had to get 1 mundane game in. Just to balance it out. Honestly, I talk about this. I keep referencing the stream, but I talk about it on stream a lot. Where this might be the match of the year, the game of the... Well, that wasn't, but... but you're watching... There are several hundred pro games per week. Just the top 10, let's say 15 players. Like Hero, Clem, Rogue, ByuN, Cure. Play at least 100 games a week. I usually do a video every couple days. A series of, what, 3 to 5 games? So what is that? 20 games a week or so? So we're already seeing, based on the games you see here, the top 10% of all pro games. Maybe an even, honestly, that's a low ball estimate. It's probably more like top 3 or 4%. You're like, why is it always the match of the year? We're taking the best, and then the best of that. And that, and statistically, there's 100 games. One of them, hopefully, if the game is fun to watch, is incredible. And we probably don't see that game, because it's probably like Showtime versus Goblin or something. But occasionally, the overlap is there. Sorry to both those players. It's PvP. It's crazy. But that would take the most decisive thing. Anyways, I think I do a little bit of a disservice because I'm showing you the strategic variety, the best games. And it doesn't help the argument that the patch is maybe a little ham-fisted and confusing, as well as questionable when I show you these amazing games. But I also want to show good games. So just know these are the best of the best. And the chaos is maybe not by design, but just a happy little accident. And maybe if that keeps up, it's good. But we'll see. I want to just see TVT the entire time. Well, that's what the ladder looks like too right now. So I don't... Proxy 2 Racks Reaper. Now this is definitely a ladder build. ByuN, like, I am so sick of TVT. I'm just gonna proxy Reaper. At least it'll be over quickly. And oh, he just wins. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Cure didn't scout, right? So it's going to be 3 Reapers to 1. Cure went for a reactor, which is a disaster. He's going to have to pull SCVs. He immediately canceled the reactor when it's 3/4 done. Wow. He's going to delay. The factory's on the ramp, so it's going to be even further delayed. There's a third Reaper. It's already disastrous, but a Marine's about to pop out. That's the only real kind of semi-saving grace. If he gets one, thing is the Reaper's healed. The Marine does not. The factory is just now finishing. He already knows there's no reactor and that he built a Marine and that the factory was delayed. Okay. The grenade gets the SCVs that are on auto repair. Gets one! And honestly, Cure doing everything he can here. Another command center on the high ground. The auto repair SCVs are doing a pretty good job. He could jump up, but that's an incredible risk. Looks like he's going to bring the barracks back home. ByuN feeling like he did enough damage. Here, I will tell you, like, this was one of the best defenses I've ever seen against this. It's kind of understated, but he's handling it about as well as ever you could. And even then, it might not be enough because this is almost a build order win. But ByuN, driven back yet again. A Hellion and a Marine come out at a perfect timing. Oh no, he's going to get him! Cure! What a play! Wow! Wow! No, Cure, you need to mine! Cure! Oh, he was so excited. He's like, why didn't he just GG? Well, he has units at home, so I don't know. There's gonna be a single Cyclone, which I think is enough to deal with this, but these scouting racks, the barracks... Alright, no gas mining for you. The Cyclone. Okay, well, we got some macaroni and cheese here. I just all credit to Cure. That was perfect. Literally, there were so many chances to just lose the game. But he manages to defend. And, well, he lost some momentum by just sending his units across the map to die. But he just made a third command center because he just doesn't have production. His production was delayed. He didn't have add-ons. So he has the extra minerals in an awkward scenario. ByuN also slapping down a third command center. He's going mag field accelerator cyclones. And, well, there's going to be a siege tank. The mag field accelerator increases the lock-on damage by 50%. Each missile hits 50% harder. With the medevac in the main, he drops one out. Realizes there's a tank. But there's about to be a Viking, so Cure continues to survive. A quick lock. Picks off a couple Marines, but uses the auto attack there. Oh my. Oh! Missed it. Overstayed. Dug too deep, too greedily. The Viking can't chase, though, because the Cyclone will pop out angrily. So ByuN maintains quite an advantage. Because Cure, the advantage is mostly in infrastructure. Because Cure is just now building a tech lab on his starport. He does not have ByuN. Okay, well, ByuN is going NG base. He's trying to do the same thing he did last game, except this time he has the space for it. This time he has, whoa. ByuN, why are you like this? What is wrong with you? He's scared. He's like, well, I better get this, otherwise... Yeah, I guess that evens out, but wow. And then the Liberator on the other side. There's no... He knocked out the Viking. He was really committed to taking out the Viking. Oh, the Marine is just barely in position. ByuN! Oh, no. Well, okay, so... The Liberator doesn't have quite enough vision. If he scans... He'll see, but a Viking on the way out of the starport. He's going to reposition towards the main. Just gonna ignore that Marine. Does he go for the... Nope, just flies out. Oh, wait! Whips around. Marine? Oh, no! It was too slow! Thought it got out of the range, but still had a tow in. And that's a legal target. Oh, no. Okay, well... A Viking comes out. So... No. ByuN focus back at home. ByuN, yeah. There is no timing that Kira can hit this time. He doesn't have the Ravens. He doesn't have air control. He doesn't have the upgrade. ByuN's just ahead. The fact that Kira is still in the game is absolutely impressive in every way. I cannot stress how dead he should be. It's not like ByuN really messed it up. It was just the perfect response with the positioning of the SCVs, the split-second call to cancel the reactor, which I scoffed at, but was clearly good enough. But, he's got quite a road ahead of him. Just to get back to near even, let alone ahead. Single Liberator. We've already seen how potentially disastrous that could be. ByuN. Bit slow on the reaction as he's microing the Cyclones. Liberator gets 4, 5 kills. Denies mining for quite a time. Marines are going to get behind it. ByuN, 55 SCVs left over. Still a 7-worker lead. There's no missile turrets, of course, because he can't afford them. The double drop headed towards the main. 1-1 is already done. He can't beat these Marines without SCVs. Which is really rough. Like, he brings in everyone else. Well, loses a medevac full of Marines. Well, whatever he had in it, but... Actually, well, okay. He needs to heal as much as possible. And he will. And actually, he just wins against the Marines. I cannot stress how important those upgrades are. Oh my god. Finally cleans it up. Now ByuN has another army ready to move forward, and Cure has been on borrowed time. And we'll see if his credit is maxed out. The Cyclone. ByuN, unscouted. The scan, there's nothing in position. Immediate lift. Gonna fully take this position. Kira's gonna go for a base trade. The sensor tower will spot it, but he has to commit. There's no going back. At least not for quite a bit. Just gonna switch over to the other side. I don't think ByuN's gonna give this up. Not in the same way Kira was forced to. Sensor tower taken down. Makes it a little more ambiguous. He's going to pick up. He's going to go for the main. It looks like the Cyclone anticipating. And locks on. Might be able to knock out one of them. Oh, that's a huge deal. The siege tank barely... Oh, no. That's not going to happen. All right. Well, there's not that many Marines here. The SCVs are absorbing a lot of fire. Whips around the siege tank shot. Okay, wait a second. I spoke far too soon. A medevac goes down, and ByuN caught in purgatory. Cura's already moved over his command center to the other side. And ByuN closing in, looking to clean this up finally. But eating so many siege tank shots, 21 SCVs dead. And suddenly Cure has the lead. It's happened. Though a siege tank will get caught out. Still struggling for map position. The scan on the army. The speed zone. Do they siege up faster? Not actually sure. They're scanning the same locations because it's so important to know exactly where the siege tanks are. This army is stranded. And suddenly, we got a game out. Kira's played. He's taken risks when needed. He's microed perfectly. His decision-making has been incredibly decisive. As it needs to be. ByuN trying to anticipate a drop to the north. This army is stranded. ByuN has +2 armor. What is with him in armor? The Marines are meat bags, all right? And any armor you can add to your meat bags is a big deal. Kira gonna try to collapse. ByuN gonna try to take advantage of that. A few units stuck in. Another army. And the tank forced to retreat. Kira with more forces. The medevac. Oh, it's gonna get weird. Here we go again. Wait, ByuN looking to collapse on it. Oh, the drop towards the main. The boys pre-pulled. Are there enough Marines to say? He lifts the starport to get the boys in there. but the Marines are punching through. 16 SCVs dead, siege tank taken down, main base vulnerable, and ByuN has no counterattack. He's gonna try to drop on top of this, but that's a disaster in the making. Unfortunately, just a little bit of a slower moving one in the main. The siege tank outmaneuvered against the tank of the low ground. He's trying to drop out, but the foothold he has the beachhead. ByuN might be able to drive him back. But Cure, well, Cure has somehow taken command of this game. The upgrades, though. He's about to have 2-2, but that's why ByuN is still, well, able to fight back relatively cost-effectively. He's going to have +3 armor not too long from now. The Marines, he has to pull the boys yet again. Painful, but he gets some of the medevacs on the way out. That's a huge deal. The medevacs are the only thing really kind of turning the tides. On both sides, the siege tanks will siege, but ByuN gets a split second extra, takes out one. Couple Marines. 2-2 upgrades about to complete. Cure could drop out. This base entirely undefended. He just flies right by. Another attempt at a drop towards the main. ByuN is hard supply blocked. 6 supply depots in production. Marines in position. Forced to pull back. More Marines dropped out. Will be cleaned up. The supply's dead even. These two, it seems like, very much so as well.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
I don't think they are. Meanwhile, another drop in the main. The tank will siege. Cure. Oh, a couple hits might be able to drop on the tank. It's not quite enough. ByuN sieges up. There's only one tank at the high ground. He slides underneath the army. Here comes Cure sliding in, but the +3 armor's done, and the army's cleaned off the field, and ByuN takes a 30 supply lead, just like that. Slips underneath the defenses. The tank's too far out. The Marines load up, drop on top. And ByuN once again turns the tables. And this time, well, can Cure escape destruction? For like the 5th time this game. I don't think so. Workers slaughtered on either side. Cure has almost no Marines left. The orbital command could be taken down. And, well, another medevac taken out. A bloody toll. But he gets the orbital. He gets the SCVs. He still has the upgrade advantage, despite continually neglecting +3 infantry weapons. ByuN has a 50 supply lead, and ByuN, I think, is going to tie up the series and send us to game number 5. Wow. Another brutal game. ByuN unable to end it with the Reapers because of Cure's perfect decision-making in micro. Almost letting it slip away. But the momentum he ground out with that early damage, the upgrade lead, carries him through. Far enough to bring us to the ace match. One more game. Eternity's Edge will be the map. Like and subscribe for existential dread. Here we go. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you to Cranky Ducklings for the Sparkling Tuna Cup, which has surprised it well. Routinely has great games, despite being a bit less notorious, but hopefully gaining some. This game, I'm sure, will live in infamy. As ByuN and Cure pummeling one another. Thousands of Marines dead at this point. I think almost 2,000. Well, at least 1,000 on each side. Which would make 2,000 in total, but they know 1,000. Don't worry about it. We're not here to do math. Besides adding 1 like, and if you haven't made it there yet, 1 subscribe. But in the top left, for the last time, it's Micro Jackson, ByuN, and facing off against the People's Terran, we have Cure. One more game in one of the most evenly matched series. These two styles so clearly apparent. ByuN with the fast and loose aggression. Cure with the planning and preparation. But not so strict that he's not flexible himself. Able to maneuver quickly to cut ByuN off when it matters most. And now the conclusion. I certainly hope this video does well. If you made it this far, well, you've already helped. Really, that is the hugest deal. Watch time is the stat. AKA people watching longer to watch more ads. But that's the stat YouTube, at least to my understanding, cares about the most. And consistency, which is why all the videos are a similar length. But making it this far, unless you skipped here, like some psychopath, how dare you? Why would you do that? Just, was it an accident? Did you fat finger the scroll bar? Search bar? Seeking? You know. Anyway. But I do want to cast more mirror matchups. But I already talked about the quality, the relative quality of games. Mirror matchups like this are mirror matchups in general are more rare than the average game, which is already a rare one. So mirror matchups have a tendency to be very lopsided and in a just super clear way. But these two might be the two most evenly matched players in the game. We rarely get such a clear example. It's Concussive Shell Rush, which will be scouted immediately. ByuN choosing to send his Reaper all the way across. Cure is going for Concussive Shell Marauders, which is quite a spicy meatball. This to tag and ideally bag any of those early units. He has to run back. The Marauder won't heal. Not like the Reaper. But if he catches it with concussive shells, that should be enough. He's going to fire the grenade. Perfectly timed for the bounce. But the Marauder just trundling across the map, knowing there's nothing that can contest him if he went Reaper first. There's literally nothing that can stop him. He has to wait for either a bunker, which ByuN, not big on the ByuNkers. But, two Marauders. Single Hellion. Haven't watched that video in a while. I don't... Catches the Reaper. The Hellion helps out, but the Cyclone is a huge deal. And now there's not enough damage. ByuN will hold. With relative ease. He killed both Marauders. And Cure's command center is significantly delayed. And I'd like to make a decisive analysis of where we are now. But honestly, this is super interesting, and I have no idea. Because it's a big risk for ByuN to move out. He probably will anyways. He's getting him out of back. Because if... Cure! I don't know. Cure trying diplomacy and this trying time. ByuN responds. Cure laughing at him. It's like, I thought Marauders were better. Why? It makes sense, but once the Marauders are scouted, walking across the map was never going to end well. I'm not sure why you expect... Well, who knows what they said. Hopefully somebody in the comments... kind enough. I was trying to bring out, but I did not expect them to start chatting in Game 5, if ever. But here we are. The medevac will be spotted. The Cyclone is in position. The counter Cyclone is kind of a huge deal. But if he takes the medevac out, obviously, well, he could boost. He tries to slurp up a bit too much. It's going to be close. The Marine right on the edge. Wait. Oh, he's fine. He just gets away with it. Whatever. All right. Interference matrices. Matrix for either side. Second starport for Cure. If we were gonna see mech, now is the time. He's already got 2 gases at the natural. So does ByuN, but not quite as quick. Wait, what is the gas mining? Yeah, Cure's mined over 100 more gas. Of course, that 100 gas went into a starport. The SCVs will repair the medevac. You are allowed to do that. A lot of players don't seem to know. A little difficult to actually pull them off the line, because you can't right-click like you can with other stuff, because otherwise they'll just load into the medevac. And that is the little bit of friction. Siege tanks. Cure's all in. Oh, he's doing it again. So, ByuN, 3 CC, 3 Rex, double engineering bay. He has 3 Ravens, but no Vikings. That is a huge deal. A scan does not spot the second starport. But the tech lab... Oh, Cure is trying to evade the army. But ByuN realizes he sends a Marine out. But Cure is closer to the base. He doesn't know that. Interference matrix is available on both sides. He spots the army. That's a huge deal. ByuN might be able to pick them up in the medevac. He's threatening. Another Marine dead. ByuN, he has to hold. And he's trying to zone out to force Cure to siege up at range. To give him time to build up and potentially overwhelm. Because all ByuN has to do is buy time. He has 3 command centers. He's got 3 Rex. He's not going for the upgrades because he knows air control is the only way here. Kira's doing a slow push towards the main. But now he's closer to ByuN's main than most of his army. He just gets right underneath that command center. Will have to be lifted. Sooner rather than later because the Vikings... Oh no. Oh no. The Vikings... Yeah, the problem is... The Viking... Oh no. No, 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 the SCV! Get out of the window! Oh! It's a disaster. And now Cure gonna leapfrog into the main, slurps up some Marines. ByuN is not defending his main base. Of which there are less of them now. ByuN is ahead on supply. He doesn't have stim. I think he's trying to wait for it. But it's getting harder and harder to see that happening. The Tech Lab 8, 6, 3... Denied! Oh no! It's a disaster! Less than 1 second! The Vikings hit the deck! ByuN! The base is burning! Carrick is burning! You have to go! The Marines out in front. The siege tank scrambles 1. The main base is being gutted. Even if he stops the tanks, the Vikings are ransacking the main, pillaging in the most lore accurate way. 12 SCVs dead. Cure just slices through into the main. And ByuN may break the tanks, but he will be broken in turn. He waited too long. And now, I think we're just waiting for the G's. Too many SCVs dead. 33. Oh, it's an absolute disaster. Cure... That the SCVs will eventually take down... Wait, no, he can protect the tank! Oh, no! He clears off the SCVs, boxes out with the Vikings. Almost unmitigated disaster. 1-1 upgrades, but he doesn't have stim. He doesn't have combat shield. This is it. This is all he has. And that's not enough. The tanks in position. The Vikings take out the medevac. Honestly, the Vikings could just land and fight this. He may choose to do so. The tanks will siege. Vikings hit the deck. Ravens there. ByuN. I mean, credit to ByuN on not just leaving, but instead trying his best. But it's just not good enough. ByuN underestimating. Underestimating Cure's commitment. And he thought he could wait until stim completed, which cost him stim forever. Well, he's restarted it, but I don't think it's gonna be. He lands the Vikings, and there's actually Cure with another technical, decisive, and incredibly well executed push. Claims victory in one of the most epic back and forth series. A couple incredibly close super macro games, a couple technical ones, but every game had its ups and downs. But hopefully, you enjoyed all the way through to the end. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Cranky Ducklings for their incredible tournaments. And if you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out both Cranky Ducklings on Patreon and, of course, and YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. Thank you to our military patrons bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jake, Devin, Door, Kate, Crazy Mouse, Mario, Soup. Glad to still enjoy. Make sure to check out this video. Jimmy picked it out just for you. And I hope to see you next time. And make sure to check out the Zero Space Galactic War on the second channel, if you're into that. Hope it made your day at least a little bit better. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Hope to see you next time. Stay chill.
Hell, it's about time.